All right, so I can absolutely see nothing with this plastic wrap on. So let's go ahead and take this stuff off. So it finally arrived. I ordered this about a month ago, so just a heads up, it may take quite a while because they do have to produce these. Apparently they don't keep them all in stock, but this is the Clearview windshield, the XL size in the medium smoke. So I do currently have the Harley-Davidson 10-inch windscreen on here, and it's been good. It's a little bit better than the stock one. It does keep the wind and everything off of your face, and instead of hitting me right in the visor where the stock one did, this actually hits me at the top of the helmet. So this is what the Harley-Davidson 10-inch one, you can see it is a very light smoke, so just a light tint to it. Let's look at the size comparison between the two. I did just lay this over the Harley-Davidson one, and the big notice is right here. You'll see the Clearview has the recurve, so it does kind of curve up here, and you'll see that difference between the Harley-Davidson one, which comes kind of just back towards you. And then the size, it is wider, so you'll see about an inch or so wider on either side of the windshield there. So it's going to give you a little bit bigger of a rider pocket in theory. So we'll see if that actually works. And you'll see right here, it is a couple inches higher than the Harley-Davidson 10-inch. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this Harley-Davidson one. And just go ahead and make sure that this gasket is still intact and not falling off. So here is the hardware that comes with the Clearview. You'll see they don't have grommets that you actually have to install through the windshield. So you're going to use a screw, and then these two washers, and then this lock washer right here. And the way you install it, you'll see that there's a smooth side and that there's a side with these 3 dots. The screw is actually going to go through on the smooth side, just like that. And then you're going to put this white spacer in between there. And then to hold everything together, you're going to put this little lock washer in. And then that's how you want to set it up to screw in the windshield. One thing about Clearview is you can actually test this out to see if you like it. And then if you don't like it, you can return it. However, you have to return it with this film on it, this protective film on both sides. You'll see it has a little warning here not to remove the masking until you are satisfied and want to use this product. They have little cutouts right here that you can go ahead and just put the screws through to install it, and that way you can test it out and make sure you like it before removing the film. Just go ahead and get this thing installed. So I'm going to just place it over those holes, and then you want to make sure you start from the bottom and then work your way up.
1 hour later.
All right, so I do have the windshield installed, and let me tell you, that was a huge pain. And what I figured out is that the screws that they sent were too small, because once you had those washers and everything, it was not catching the threads that are inside there. So after playing around with it for a long time, I realized that these ones that they sent weren't going to work. So I actually reused the stock ones and put the same washers on there, and they actually were able to thread in. So I kind of lifted this plastic just because I was having so many issues. So we'll still take it for a test ride with the plastic on, but just note that you may have to actually use the stock screws that came with your bike. All right, so now that the frustrating part is over, I honestly thought that I had somehow cross-threaded the fairing because I could not get the screws to go in, but it turns out that the ones they sent were just too short. So very frustrating, but now let's actually test this thing out. What kind of sucks is having this plastic on here, I can't see anything through the fairing, so I got to kind of look over, and it's like right at my line of sight, so I can just see just over the fairing. So I probably won't be going too long with this plastic wrap on here. But so far, I definitely noticed a difference in the wind. I don't really feel anything kind of hitting my helmet. Again, I've only gotten up to probably about 45, but let's keep going. So going about 60, a little over 60 miles an hour, and the wind is definitely over the top of my helmet, which is good. So it definitely does seem to be helping with that head buffeting I was getting with the 10-inch one. All right, so I can absolutely see nothing with this plastic wrap on. So let's go ahead and take this stuff off. Should be the satisfying part now. All right, so this is what it looks like
on the bike. I definitely like the darker smoke tint on this one than the HD one. All right, that's much better. All right, so as far as the height of this windshield, this is like the tallest one they make, the extra large. And I'm 5'10", and I'm sitting on the stock seat with the Lowrider ST. And my eye line is right at maybe just above the top of the windshield. So if I'm looking at a distance, I'm actually looking over the windshield, but if I'm looking kind of like what's in front of me, I'm pretty much looking through the windshield. So with my height, this one may be just a little too tall. However, I am planning on getting a Saddleman seat, which I hear raises you up about an inch. So I think with an inch rise in the seat, it'll put me about where I was with the stock 10-inch from Harley-Davidson. But if you're 5'10", have the stock seat, you're going to find yourself looking a little more through the windshield than normally on a smaller one. So 50 to 55 is about the speed that I go on this road for a lot of these videos, and I am noticing that I'm not getting a lot of wind noise in the helmet like I was with the 10-inch windscreen. I don't feel that the wind is actually hitting the side of my helmet like it was. It definitely seems like it's going kind of around it. There is a little bit of a crosswind that I can feel, but like on the sides of my helmet, I don't feel any of the wind. If I put my hand up here, I could start to feel it a little bit out here, probably about an inch away from the helmet. But I'm gonna get on the highway here and see how that feels, because I was noticing the last time I was on the highway, I was getting a lot of movement in my helmet. It was kind of being thrown all over the place, and it was really loud. So I'm interested to see how this works out. All right, so I'm going about 75, 76 miles an hour, and normally I would be getting a ton of wind noise in my helmets. I don't know how the microphone's going to pick up now versus what it used to, but it is a much quieter ride. And again, with the wind going directly over the top of my helmet, I'm not feeling any head buffeting. So I'm going to go ahead and kick it up to about 80. Yeah, it is a much quieter ride. 81 miles an hour, not feeling any head buffeting. Like I said, on the stock 10-inch, I would definitely be feeling the wind hitting my helmet and be kind of bouncing it around a little bit, but not feeling any of that right now. I do actually feel less wind on my chest. I do think, honestly, this does increase your rider pockets noticeably different. So like usually my shirt, you can see it kind of flying around on my chest at this speed, but really nothing. I feel the wind on my shoulders and arms, but it's kind of like a light breeze. It's not like, I don't feel like I'm getting an 80 mile an hour breeze on my arms at all. And with as quieter as the helmet is, it's going to make riding on the highway a lot more enjoyable. I found myself having to kind of duck behind the 10-inch one just to reduce some of that noise and head buffeting. But when I do that here, so say I'm sitting just in a normal seating position and then I duck down to where I normally would have been, there's no difference in sound buffeting or anything. Like, I honestly don't feel a difference like that at all. So far, I do like this, and I am going to keep it. Since I did take the plastic off, I can't return it anyway, but it is definitely a lot quieter. I think if I get about an inch of rise out of my seats, that will definitely help me with looking all the way over the windshield and not through it quite as much. All right, so now about 85 miles an hour. Just naturally, I did get a little more wind noise, but not much, nothing compared to what I was getting. Still not feeling any head buffeting at all. Even if I try to sit all the way up, like straighten my back as much as I can and kind of lift my head, still not getting any wind head buffeting at all. All the wind is going directly up and over me. So I'm not sure if the microphone picked it up on the highway or not, but it was a much more enjoyable ride going up to 85 miles an hour. Normally I would be getting a ton of wind noise in my helmet and I'd have to duck down behind the screen. I didn't have to do that at all this time. The wind was going directly up and over my helmet. Didn't feel any kind of wind other than obviously crosswinds, but as far as any wind coming at me, didn't feel it on my helmet. It wasn't hitting the side of my helmet either, and I think that's where I was getting a lot of the noise from with the 10-inch, is I was getting a lot of wind hitting the side of my helmet too. But nothing on this. I do feel like it does give you a wider rider pocket. I wasn't getting as much wind on my chest as normal, and even like on the grips and everything where I could feel a little bit more. And if I would move my hands like out here, definitely not as windy. So I think it definitely pushes the rider pocket out a little bit more than the 10-inch from Harley-Davidson and even the stock one that comes with this bike. So if you guys are in the market for a new windshield and Clearview was on your radar, that's how it works for me. I do love how that recurve gets the wind up and over you. If you guys are interested in checking out a video between the stock windscreen and that Harley-Davidson 10-inch, I'll have a link up here and I'll also post a link to that video in the description below. And if you guys like this content, smash that like and subscribe button and we'll catch you on the next video.